WCBI News at 10 starts now.
An off-duty state trooper is shot and killed and the suspect is behind bars. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jory Talley. It happened near the Tippah and Alcorn County line at 12:45 this morning. Troop F Master Sergeant Ray Hall says when troopers and officers responded to Hatchie Bottom, they found two people suffering from gunshot wounds. Hall says 32-year-old off-duty trooper Kenneth Josh Smith was pronounced dead at the scene. The other victim, 38-year-old Ricky Delvick, was transported to a local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The suspect, 43-year-old Troy Anthony Eaton, surrendered to law enforcement at 5:30 this morning. Local, state, and federal agencies assisted with the search for Eaton. The Mississippi Bureau of Investigation is over this ongoing case. Well, in other tragic news tonight, the minds of Mississippians are with the people of Brookhaven. Gunshots took the lives of two police officers yesterday morning. 31-year-old Corporal Zach Moak and 35-year-old Patrolman James White. WLBT's Patrice Clark has more on what happened.
This is the worst day we can have in law enforcement.
Investigators say Brookhaven Patrolman James White and Corporal Zach Moak responded to a shots fired call on North 6th Street just before 5 a.m.
Once they arrived at the scene, the officers arrived at the scene, there was an exchange of gunfire.
We answer those calls many times. Nothing ever happens. But this morning, something happened. We lost two of our brave officers.
Chief Kenneth Collins fought back tears as he spoke about his two fallen officers. He says they both originally joined the force back in 2015. Moak had just been promoted, and White recently came back to work for the department.
It's just heartbreaking for us to get out here and do our day-to-day job and have to face all the things that's against us. But I promise you, the men and women of law enforcement, we're not going to give up. We're not going to stop. This is what we do. We give our life in service for our community.
The Mississippi Bureau of Investigation is the lead agency in this case. They have identified the suspected shooter as 25-year-old Marquise Flowers from Brookhaven.
The suspect was wounded, has been transported to a Jackson hospital where he is in custody and being treated.
Police say both men were wearing bulletproof vests and possibly body cameras during this early Saturday morning shootout.
I hate to speculate, yes, there was body cam, there was dash cam, but we'll wait and see what that reveals.
As investigators continue to search for a motive in this case, the police chief says he and his team will do their best to cope with this surprising and heartbreaking loss of two extraordinary officers.
They're both heroes. They did their job. My heart goes out to all the family, all the kinfolks, and you never know when it's your last day.
This community knows all too well about tragedy and coming together during tough times. Last year, a Lincoln County Sheriff's deputy who worked for Brookhaven PD several years was also shot and killed while responding to a call. To honor those two fallen police officers, they're remembered tonight for their service to their communities. First responders and members of the community continue to mourn their loss of the officers, James White and Zach Moak. To honor them, the Brookhaven Police Department held a candlelight memorial. While James White's and Zach Moak's families stood together side by side, they demonstrated what the Brookhaven community is all about. Charles Morris Jr. came with a close friend of James White's tonight.
We as people, we have these connections, and when someone passes, we don't need to face this alone. Grief is a terrible, terrible thing. Basic compassion is what makes us who we are.
Over 100 people attended with their candles and paid tribute to those two fallen heroes. It's only not been a tough time for their families in that community, but also for law enforcement agencies all throughout the Magnolia State. The off-duty trooper was fatally shot, while the Brookhaven officers, as we said, were killed in the line of duty. Monroe County Sheriff Cecil Cantrell says it's upsetting because the officers are there for their communities. Cantrell says although the fallen officers belong to different departments, these losses truly impact departments all throughout the state.
Well, in the last 2 days, we've lost 3 members of our brotherhood. You know, law enforcement officers, we love each other. We love their families. We love their departments, and this has really been a shock to all law enforcement officers here in North Mississippi. Our hearts go out to their families, to their fellow officers that work with them every day.
The sheriff goes on to say they will continue to support the departments and agencies impacted by this tragedy. Well, it's now time to get a first look at our weather with meteorologist Jacob Dickey. Hey, Jacob.
Hey, Jory, we're finally getting on here a little late, but still very comfortable outside right now on the SkyCam network. Mostly clear to partly cloudy for the evening, and I think that's the way things will stay overnight. Look for lows tonight to drop into the upper 60s. A few of us near 70, Aliceville 70, Columbus 68, 67 in Starkville, and 68 in Calhoun City. There has been some showers off to our south that they continue to dissipate as they move north. Maybe it will give us a little more cloud cover by morning, but I think things are looking okay. Here's what we're watching. Summer boils on in the month of October. We look to be 5 to 10 degrees above average. The heat continuing to at least the middle of the month. Also drying out this week. Only a few chances for isolated storms. Coming up, we'll talk more about this and get you your 7-day forecast. Jory?
Production at the Plymouth tubing plant in Eupora came to a halt today. Eupora and Walthall fire departments responded to a call earlier this afternoon about an electrical fire in the ceiling of the industrial plant. WCBI's Cash Matlock was there and has more.
An electrical fire shut down Plymouth tubing in Eupora at around 2 p.m. Sunday afternoon.
One of the employees were working and noticed something in the ceilings. A lot of smell was going on. People trying to figure it out. They noticed it. He contacted the maintenance department, and they got the fire department on the way.
Now, the fire was primarily located in the roof of the industrial plant, and as you can see behind me, emergency officials are currently removing the insulation as well as assessing the extent of the damages.
You've got about a 40-foot by 40-foot square area. It's damaged as far as the roof. At 10, it took some heat damage. So it's going to have some repairs. But as far as the structure itself, no damage as far as, the integrity of the structure is still good.
Eupora Fire Chief Mitch Jackson says the fire most likely started with one of the fans on the roof.
I don't know if it was from one of the vents or from one of the fans, but, right now it just appears to be electrical.
And despite taking the afternoon off, production at the plant won't be stopping for long.
Right now we're doing a final run through, making sure everything works, no water damage, that type stuff. Hopefully we'll be back to work earliest tonight.
Plant manager Bobby Davis says the most important thing is that everyone is safe.
Have a lot of families employed here. That's important to us, and maybe get them back to work and be safe when they get here. So we want to make sure everything's safe, and like I said, hopefully get started back up tonight.
Plymouth Tubing specializes steel tubing and distributes it all over the globe. Well, Lee Mall in Columbus is scheduled to be auctioned off during the peak of the holiday season. WCBI's Jason Hibbs explains why and has a reaction from those who could be impacted the most.
Shoppers say the Lee Mall has seen better days.
They can do, better. They can do better. It's just like they're doing it one by one. Reeds and closed down. And so I have to, travel all the way to Tupelo to get my jewelry clean, Pandora jewelry and all that other stuff.
Just walking in, Naisha Rush had to pass 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stores that closed.
To me, it's really like a flea market, just to be honest.
Shopper Jennifer Bell pretty much feels the same way.
It's on its way to being out of business. Yeah, it's not many options.
So they weren't surprised by the public notice of an auction, part of a foreclosure process. The mall manager said she was told not to comment and directed us to her boss, Stephen Williams. He didn't answer the phone or return our calls. But employees like Mariah Bankhead, who count on this place to feed their families, are talking. And she says it's not just about the money.
See, we already don't have really no stores, so just by this shutting down, it's just like, ugh.
Bankhead says losing Lee Mall and its customers would be like saying goodbye to family.
And we even got customers who know our cooks, so they come in, they already be talking to the cook, so they already know what's going on.
Rush says it seems so many people have gotten used to walking past all these shuttered shops, not realizing what that means. But cautiously optimistic, she says a new buyer could see potential.
Make it, more noticeable so people would want to come, and shop.
making for more better days ahead. In Columbus, Jason Hibbs, WCBI News.
The public notice states that Lee Mall, along with other Security National properties, will be auctioned on December 4th in New York. Well, coming up after the break, we dive into this week's Mom-to-Mom discussion. Stay with us.
You're watching WCBI News at 10 with Jory Talley.
Welcome back, everyone. In tonight's Mom to Mom, we discuss how women can work out in the beginning stages of pregnancy. Here's Sarah Panel with more.
Today we're talking about how to work out in the early stages of your pregnancy. So many women out there when they first get pregnant, they don't know how to work out, when to work out. So I've got the expert here with us. I've got Val from Smo Fitness and I've got Kate Horning. Val, help us out.
So many women, they come to me and they're like, what do I do? These are some really great ways to strengthen the core, and it's going to help with delivery and recovery. We're going to work the lower TA muscles, which is the rubber band-like muscles that go right here. I want you to put your hands there. You're going to roll your hips under until you feel those rubber bands tighten. The first exercise we're going to do is you're going to take 10 deep breaths in that position. And what you're doing is you're training your muscles to contract. If you are able to, after you do this for a week or two, you can work on lifting one leg and lowering it slowly. And as you can see, you're not breaking a sweat, so you can do this when you wake up in the morning, when you go to bed. To make it a little more advanced, you can go straight leg like Kate is, and then you're just going to switch legs. What you're doing is you're just pulling those abdominal muscles back together. So this is really good before baby and then after baby as well.
So I'm definitely going to feel some muscles tomorrow that I haven't worked out in a while.
You're going to be shocked how much those little movements will make you sore tomorrow.
Exactly. So moms, check out Val's website and I'll see you all next week.
Mom to Mom is brought to you by Preferred Pediatrics, seeing children and youth of all ages at physicians and surgeons across from Gilmore Hospital in Amory.
Well, this week in the South, the calendar screaming fall. We hit October here shortly, but the weather staying very summer-like. Temperatures near 90 coming up this week. I've got those full details after the break.
Your first alert forecast with meteorologist Jacob Dickey.
It's a very nice evening out there in the Sunday evening as we wrap up September, coming into October shortly, but very nice cool fall-like evening for us, and those temperatures are falling into those upper 60s, which is a very pleasant relief from some of that summer heat we've had. Enjoy this night out there, and morning coffee seems to be good. Maybe we get a little patchy fog in some spot, but we'll drop down to 68 in Columbus, 69 in Amory, and in Tupelo, 68 in Calhoun City, 70 in Aliceville. Now, I think overnight we stay dry. That rain off to our south should dissipate before it reaches 2059 from Meridian towards Tuscaloosa. Though Monday, by lunchtime, maybe we see a pop-up shower, and we'll call it partly cloudy for the day. As we get into the afternoon, though, more summer-like pop-up showers and storms. The better chance seems to be to our south, but I still think we sneak a few of those into our area. And then once that sun sets, we'll get those showers and storms to fizzle off for a dry Monday night yet again. For our Monday planners, you start the day, things are looking dry on the way to work. Quickly warming up, though. We'll be in the mid to upper 80s. That's a good 5 to 10 degrees above average where we should be around this time of year. We should be at 80 or 81 and seeing 87 for our high. Some spots even a little bit warmer and some spots a little cooler. 86 in Amory and in Aberdeen, 86 in Tupelo, 85 in New Albany. We really cranked the heat up in the Golden Triangle. Columbus, I've got us at 87, 88 in Macon, 89 in DeKalb, 88 in Philadelphia, 85 in Ackerman for our Monday afternoon. And West Alabama, mid-80s on the board, 84 in Fayette, 85 in Vernon. Again, with those chances for a few pop-up showers and storms area-wide for all of us. The reason for that, we're getting some Gulf moisture coming in here from the Texas coast. Notice as this boundary is starting to lift north, that's going to give us a better chance for some of those pop-up showers and storms Monday and on Tuesday. It will also help us keep the heat in place as this high pressure really builds in over our area. I think by Wednesday, though, things look to dry off a little bit for us. Quick check of the tropics here. We've got Leslie out here. It will be a hurricane by Monday morning. Stay away from the land, though. We'll be okay with that. And as far as the temperature outlook, we have now hit fall on the calendar. The weather not catching up anytime soon. Very high probability for above average heat all the way through the middle of October here. Not good if you want some of that fall weather. We also can talk about the heat for our friends over in Kuwait. The 155th Armored Brigade still dealing with triple digits out there. Very much hot for a lot of us that are across our area and over there. For tonight, cooling off into the upper 60s. 60s. It'll be comfortable out there, mostly clear and perhaps a little patchy fog. As we hit the 7-day forecast, then scattered showers and storms expected Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday turning drier. We're sticking some 90s on the board. As we get into the weekend, though, we get the chance for another pop-up shower and storm Saturday and Sunday. Jory?
All right, the ranked Mississippi State Bulldogs fell in its first SEC home opener to Florida yesterday. Hear from both teams on the loss coming up next in sports. Stick with us.
Your WCBI Sports with Courtney Robb.
Well, it was a disappointing and unanticipated loss for the ranked Mississippi State Bulldogs against the Florida Gators. With lots of pressure built on this game, it wasn't the outcome for the SEC home opener anyone was expecting. Now with 2 SEC losses under their belt, the Bulldogs accept responsibility but remain frustrated with what they could have done better.
In the first half, we had 3 drives outside the 2-minute and, scored field goals on 2 of them. Needed converted the touchdowns there. But, series after series outside of the one, the defense was, getting stops, forcing them to punt. We really didn't have great field position, but for the defense to play the way they did, we got to capitalize on some of those possessions and turn them into points. Very frustrating.
Those 2 teams from the SEC East haven't went into the West Division yet, so just got to stay positive. We love this game. It's rough. No one ever said it was going to be easy, so just got to keep moving forward.
We haven't been playing well. Definitely been playing well. As a quarterback, I'll take all that. I'll shoulder that blame. Absolutely. I'm not playing up to par by any means. So we're gonna deal with this. Look at the film, get better from it, keep working.
But on the other hand, the return to Starkville for Dan Mullen ended up being a bittersweet one. Penalties were a huge struggle for the Gators, but they weren't enough to give the Bulldogs the edge in this game. Mullen attributed the win to simply preparing the right way for this game all week, also saying that the Gators were able to pick up the win from quote-unquote grinding it out. And being that Mullen was also going up against his former players and former QB in Nick Fitzgerald, it looked like he knew perfectly how to manage Fitz.
One of the big things we wanted to do with him was try to pressure him, but also keep him in the pocket. And, if you look, his designed called runs, he had success, which we know, you're not going to just dial that up and stop that. But you got to contain it. Like I said, we got to fit, just tackle him, get him on the ground, and be a little bit stouter and force him into some third down situations. And then when we did, try to keep him in the pocket, get pressure. We have some good guys. We have some guys who can get some pressure off the edge. But don't give him those scramble lanes where he can scramble to throw or scramble to run, where he makes a lot of his big plays. And I think we did a much better job than we've done in weeks past of really keeping our rush lanes and keeping him in the pocket. We just had to be more physical. I think that was the biggest aspect of us. It wasn't like there were gaping holes everywhere and there were explosive play after explosive play. It was they were knocking us back a little bit and getting the kind of the ball control, move the sticks. I don't know if that was their plan coming in. We had 3 possessions in the first half. It felt like they were really trying to run the clock and shorten the game and slow the game down a whole bunch.
The Ole Miss Rebels also were trying to get its first SEC win yesterday against the LSU Tigers. We've got those highlights coming up for you next in sports. Stick with us. The Rebels looked to make a statement during its second-ranked matchup of the season against LSU. And they came out hot to start, but it only took a couple moments until we would see the Tigers heat up. Meanwhile, the Rebels would cool down. Ole Miss trying to get a big win against the LSU Tigers. It would be the first time since 2015 that they would get a win. But here we see the interception from Grant Delpit on the Tamu pass with the diving interception. And we're still scoreless here. Tamu's going to throw one over the middle to Braylon Sanders for a 19-yard gain on that. Ole Miss takes the lead 3-0 from a field goal. And Joe Burrow now throws to the front center of the end zone to Jamar Chase with the back shoulder catch for the TD. Nice play. LSU takes the lead 7-3, and Nick Brossett goes up the middle. He's going to spin off the pile and take it on in for the touchdown. The Tigers really know about just racking up those points in Death Valley, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire takes the snap, goes around left end and fights his way in, crawling on the field just so he can get that touchdown there. A lot of effort, but Burrow here on the play action is going to throw downfield and connect with Justin Jefferson, who's going to take it 65 yards into the house for the score there. These Tigers, the Rebels just not able to catch up to them, and LSU leading 28-3 at halftime, but Rebels coming out trying to find some momentum. Scotty Phillips getting in for the TD there. Rebels trailing 28-13, and the Tigers not wasting any time to answer back. Burrows to Jefferson again for the touchdown to extend their lead as if they really needed it. But fourth quarter here, Burrows keeps it around left, and he's going to take it 35 yards all the way into the house, just breezing past people. Not going to be able to stop the Rebels, simply unable to handle the force of nature that is the LSU Tigers. They'd end up falling on the road 45-16, but coming up next, they will be taking on ULM next weekend. We'll get back to SEC play a little bit after that. But that's it for sports. We'll have your last look after the break. Stick with us.
Well, if you like fall, you'll have to wait quite a bit longer. Next 7 days, keeping those temperatures 5 to 10 degrees above average. Get a chance for a few isolated pop-up showers and storms Monday and Tuesday, but there'll be plenty of sunshine to go around. I think we're going to keep some more 90s, and we may see 90s through the middle of October.
Wow.
That's because big ridge of heat is expected to kick on in. So, fall, we'll have to cross our fingers for it.
Oh, I love fall. Hurry
Yeah,
up.
me too. Hurry
up. Y'all have a great week. We'll see you back here tomorrow night.